Title: After months of lies, my wife confessed she was moving in with her ex, demanding I sell our house. "You're a pathetic failure. He's the love of my life," she hissed, tearing up our photos. "She's too good for you," her sister laughed. I signed the papers. Then my inbox exploded with 19 emails pleading for help as their plans unraveled. Chapter 1: The confession I never expected. 12 years, that's how long I gave her. 12 years of loyalty, support, patience, and compromise. Her name was Claire, and she had always been intense. Beautiful, yes, but the kind of beauty that came with emotional volatility. The highs were heaven, the lows were volcanic. Still, I thought that was love. We'd been through so much. Family deaths, career setbacks, the miscarriage that nearly broke us. But I stayed. I always stayed. Until the night she finally told me the truth. It was a rainy Thursday. She walked into the kitchen while I was making dinner. Thai noodles, her favorite. She didn't sit, didn't say hi. Instead, she stood there with her arms crossed and a steel-cold stare. "I'm moving in with Jordan." I turned, blinking. "Jordan? Who?" She didn't hesitate. "My ex, my real love, the one I should have married in the first place." My stomach clenched, but I stayed still. She went on, unloading it like she'd rehearsed every line. "I've been seeing him for months. I told you those late shifts were overtime. Lie. The business trips. Lie. I was with him. And now? I want out. I want you to sell this house so I can get my half and move on." Then she walked to our photo wall, picked up one of our framed pictures, our wedding photo, and ripped it in half. "You're a pathetic failure, Tom," she hissed, eyes burning with contempt. "He's the love of my life. You were just a pit stop." My hands gripped the counter. Before I could speak, her sister walked in from the hallway. Trisha, who had always treated me like I was disposable. She smirked. "Let her go, Tommy. She's too good for you." I looked at the woman I once called family, and all I could do was nod. "All right," I whispered. "If that's how you both feel, let's do it your way." That night, I signed the separation agreement, gave her everything she wanted, my name off the mortgage, her share of the house proceeds, even access to the car until she moved out. She smiled like she'd won. But what Claire and Trisha didn't know, I had already started putting things in motion weeks ago because I wasn't as naive as they thought. Their betrayal hadn't started that night. I'd just finally let them say it out loud. Chapter 2: The insurance they never read. 3 weeks before that confrontation, something inside me had already started to crack. Claire had changed. The fake smiles, the unexplained late nights, the way she locked her phone and took it into the bathroom, the way her laughter sounded just a bit too forced when I walked into the room. So I began to watch. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I didn't chase. I observed. I checked her phone bill online, multiple calls to a number labeled Rachel Yoga. Except Claire hated yoga. I checked it against our cell provider records. The real name? Jordan Matthews, her ex. That night, while she was asleep, I looked into our accounts. She had started funneling money into a new account I didn't recognize. Tiny amounts at first, $200 here, $300 there, just under what I'd normally notice. That's when I decided if she was planning her exit, I'd plan her downfall. The first move, a financial firewall. I called my lawyer the next morning. "I think my wife is setting me up," I said. He'd worked with me for years. He didn't ask dumb questions. He just said, "How much proof do you want before we go nuclear?" "All of it," I said, "and I want to walk away clean." Together, we began building a case, documenting her hidden transfers, recording voice memos of her phone calls through a baby monitor app. She never figured out it was active in the guest room, and saving screenshots from her laptop when she left it open. Then I checked the house deed. It was in both our names, but the down payment came from my inheritance, and thankfully I had the receipts to prove it. She might think she was getting half the house. She wasn't. The second move, the X factor. Out of curiosity, and maybe spite, I looked up Jordan Matthews, found his social media, public as hell. Apparently, he'd just gone through 2 failed startups, owed back taxes, and was renting a shoebox apartment in the suburbs. One of his recent posts even read, "Manifesting a second chance in life." It clicked. Claire wasn't moving in with a man she loved. She was running to a fantasy, one I was now ready to shatter. I used a contact from work, a private investigator we sometimes hired for background checks. Within 72 hours, I had a full file: Jordan's eviction history, his ongoing court case over unpaid child support, and the real kicker, he had a pending fraud investigation for inflating income to secure loans. I printed the entire file, bound it neatly, and placed it in a package with a simple sticky note. "Make sure your sister reads the fine print before she signs anything." Then I dropped it off at Trisha's office. No name, no return address. The calm. Before the implosion. The day I signed the separation documents, Claire was practically giddy. Trisha winked at me like I was a joke. I let them believe it. I sold the house within 10 days to a friend of mine who offered a lowball price. Claire, legally entitled to half the proceeds, received her share. But what she didn't realize? Her half was pre-taxed, pre-cleared for legal fees, and came with a surprise lien I had quietly applied due to the fraudulent account transfers she'd made behind my back. When she saw the deposit, less than what she expected, she texted, "This seems wrong. It's too low. Fix it." I replied, "Everything's fair. Ask your lawyer." She didn't have one. She thought she wouldn't need one. Now the stage was set. Their fantasy life with Jordan was about to begin and completely collapse. Chapter 3. The House of Cards Falls Down. It started with a phone call from our old real estate agent. "Tom, is it true you sold the house to Josh?" "Yeah," I said calmly. "Why?" She exhaled. "Claire and Trisha came by yesterday demanding to see the place. Thought they could move in, said you promised it." I chuckled. "I didn't promise anything. I just signed it over." Then the silence. "Tom, Claire didn't even know it had been sold. She looked shocked, like betrayed. She really thought you'd let her stay." That's when I realized they had no plan, only assumptions. Implosion, Part 1. The financial freeze. 3 days later, I received my first of many emails. Subject line, "WTH Tom." It was Claire, rambling, panicking. "Jordan's card isn't working. His car got repossessed. He said he just needs a little help until his new startup gets funded. Please send the rest of the house money." I didn't reply. I already knew what happened. I had followed Jordan to a pawn shop earlier that week. He'd sold Claire's bracelet for cash. She didn't know. Not yet. But she would. Implosion. Part 2. Public exposure. Then came the fallout. The anonymous file I'd left for Trisha? She did read it, but not before bragging at her law firm about Claire and Jordan's new future. She'd even put down a referral for Jordan to help with a client's app. The client ran a background check. It exposed everything. That single move got Trisha suspended for professional misconduct. Her firm opened an internal investigation. She texted me at 2:14 a.m. "I don't know what you sent or did, but Claire's crying and I'm being dragged through hell. Please just help us." I muted her number. Implosion. Part 3. Jordan's collapse. The final nail? Jordan. Turns out Jordan had been recording conversations, not for leverage, but because he was a narcissist who thought he'd someday write a memoir. One of those recordings? Claire laughing about how she'd never really loved Tom, just used him until something better came along. And worse, Trisha joining in. He uploaded that clip to a private Facebook group of mutual friends, one of whom, of course, sent it to me. I forwarded it to Claire's very religious mother, then sat back and let the family drama erupt. 5 days later, on a rainy Wednesday, I got the text that sealed it all. From Amber, my cousin. "Everything's falling apart. Please help us fix it." Claire had been dumped. Jordan left in the middle of the night, taking what little money she had left. Trisha was jobless, disgraced, and facing a possible bar review. Their parents had kicked them both out, ashamed and humiliated by the public embarrassment. And me? I was sipping coffee, working remotely from a peaceful condo overlooking the city. I didn't reply to Amber. I just turned off my phone and smiled. Chapter 4. The Unexpected Knock. It was a Sunday afternoon when it happened. A soft knock echoed through my new condo. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, Claire stood there. She looked nothing like the woman who once tore up our photos while laughing with her sister. No makeup, hollow eyes, wrinkled coat clutched around her like armor. She didn't speak right away, just stood there as if unsure she was even real. Then, "Please, can we talk?" I didn't answer, just stepped aside and let her in, not out of kindness, but because I wanted to see her fall apart with dignity still barely clinging to her bones. She walked to the kitchen table and sat. "Jordan, he's gone," she whispered. "He took everything, said I was baggage, said I was just a pretty face until the money ran out." I sat across from her, silent. She looked up, desperate now. "I don't know what happened to me. I thought I was in love. I don't know. I was stupid. You didn't deserve what I did to you." I raised an eyebrow. "Did you really think I'd fund your fairy tale with him?" She flinched. "I thought you'd still care." "I did," I said coldly, "right up until you proved I was nothing more than a placeholder." Then I stopped. She began to cry. The kind of crying that doesn't look for forgiveness, just relief. But I had none to give. "I don't hate you, Claire," I finally said. "I just don't respect you. And I don't help people I don't respect." She tried one last time. "Can't we try again? Please?" I leaned in, voice low, steady. "When you tore up our wedding photos, you didn't just end a marriage. You shredded the last part of me that would have ever said yes again." I stood. She didn't move. I didn't have to tell her to leave. She knew. She walked out without another word. Epilogue. The rebuild. It's been 9 months. I donated most of our old wedding gifts, sold the last piece of jewelry I bought her, and used the money to fund a scholarship at my old college. In my mother's name, not hers. I still get emails from Trisha, from Claire, from her mother, all unread. The last time I powered on my backup phone, I saw 19 unread emails, the same ones that once screamed, "Please help us fix it." I left them there, not as trophies, but reminders that love without respect is poison. And silence, once earned, is the most deafening revenge of all. Sometimes the people who claim to love you the most are the ones who betray you the deepest. But the most powerful revenge isn't screaming, fighting, or trying to win them back. It's moving on in silence and letting their own choices destroy them. If this story hit home or gave you chills, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Tap the bell so you never miss the next twist-filled emotional revenge story. And remember, in the end, peace speaks louder than payback.